of doctors' working hours.
Yes, yes. May proceed to lay the petition.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Petition is hereby referred to the Senate Committee on Health and Related Matters to report back to the Senate in 3 weeks. Yes, any other petition? Leader of the Senate, petition. Okay, Senator Odende.
Thank you, Mr. President. My dear colleagues, I have a petition from my name is Emmanuel Menga Udende. I represent the very good people of Benue Northeast Senatorial District. I have a petition from one of my constituents, Mr. Kumeon Rufa Michael. He's complaining of unlawful termination of appointment, and he's seeking a relief of this Senate to look into the matter. I crave your indulgence to lay the petition. There's no litigation that will hamper the Senate from looking into the petition.
Proceed to lay the petition. Petition is hereby referred to the Committee on Ethics, Code of Conduct, and Public Petitions to revert to the Senate in 3 weeks. Yes, any other petition? So, Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the first business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of most distinguished Senator Asuquo Ekpeyon on the Factoring Regulation Bill 2024 SB 474. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Factoring Regulation Bill 2024, SB 474, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Factoring Regulation Bill 2024 SB 474, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the second business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of most distinguished Senator Khalid Ibrahim Mustafa on the Victims of Banditry and Kidnapping Trust Fund Bill 2024 SB 475. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Victims of Banditry and Kidnapping Trust Fund Bill 2024, SB 475, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Victims of Banditry and Kidnapping Trust Fund Bill 2024, SB 475, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, The third business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of most distinguished Senator Osita Ngu on the Public Procurement Act Amendment Bill 2024 SB 476. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Public Procurement Act Amendment Bill 2024, SB 476, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Public Procurement Act Amendment Bill 2024 SB 476, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, the fourth business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of most distinguished Senator Barao Jibrin on the Agricultural Research Council Act Amendment Bill 2024 SB 477. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Agricultural Research Council Act Amendment Bill 2024, SB 477, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Agricultural Research Council Act Amendment Bill 2024 SB 477, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished senators, the fifth business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of most distinguished Senator Yaro Binos Dauda on the Border Communities Development Agency Act Amendment Bill 2024 SB 478. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Border Communities Development Agency Act Amendment Bill 2024, SB 478, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Border Communities Development Agency Act Amendment Bill 2024, SB 478, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Thank you, Mr. President and distinguished colleagues. The first order of the day is the presentation and adoption of the Conference Committee report on the Southeast Development Commission Establishment Bill 2024, HB 626. Distinguished senators will recall that the Senate and the House of Representatives passed different versions of the Southeast Development Commission Establishment Bill 2024. The Conference Committee of both chambers have met and harmonized the differences in accordance with Senate Standing Order 86. Mr. President, with your permission, I move the motion for the Senate to adopt the conference report. I so move, Mr. President.
Minority Leader.
Mr. President, I support the motion ably moved by the majority leader. So second.
Those in support of the motion and move and second, they say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Yes. May proceed with the report. You have to lay the report.
Well, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Tahir Mohamed Manguno to present the report. Thank you.
Distinguished Senator Mongono.
Distinguished senators, my name is Mohamed Tahir Manguno. I represent Borno North Senatorial District. I hereby move that the Senate do receive and consider the report of the Conference Committee on the Southeast Development Commission Bill 2024, House Bill 626. I so move.
Distinguished Senator Ezenwa.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. My name is Ezanwa Onyewuchi, and I represent Imo East Senatorial District of Imo State. I rise to second the motion as moved. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded that this August Assembly do receive the Southeast Development Commission's conference report. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Yes, distinguished Senator Monguno. Distinguished Senator Monguno, go ahead. Give us the summary of the report.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, I remain Mohammed Tahir Monguno. I represent Borno Senatorial District. Well, there's only one difference between the report of the Senate and the House. The Senate report states that membership of the commission should be subject to the confirmation of the Senate, while the House version states membership of the commission should be subject to the confirmation of National Assembly. In the course of the conference, the House version, which states that membership of the commission is subject to the Senate approval, was adopted, and the House version was jettisoned.
Just repeat. Because both of them are house. I know you were chief whip of the house.
I say thank you, sir.
I want to hear which one is
Okay, let me
from the
state
Senate and which
it
one is from the House.
in very clear and unequivocal terms that the House version states that the chairman and membership of the Southeast Development Commission should be subject to the confirmation of the National Assembly. That means both houses have the jurisdiction for the confirmation of the membership of the commission, while the House version in a very clear and unambiguous, the Senate version, while the Senate version states that it should be subject to the confirmation of the Senate exclusively, to the exclusive jurisdiction of the Senate for confirmation. The Senate version, and the Senate version was adopted.
Yes, Senator Barrow.
Well, thank God, Senate President, that my distinguished colleagues, that the Senate version is now adopted, because the function of confirmation of president's appointments are solely something that rests on the shoulders of the Senate. It is very clear in our constitution. So thank God that they've seen reason to adopt the position of the Senate. So if the Senate version is fully accepted, I think it's in consonance with our constitution, and so we should go ahead to approve the report. Thank you, Mr. President.
The distinguished Senator Bello Abubakar, you have changed. You are now very fair, and there is a lot of noise coming from that area. Distinguished colleagues, I want to thank distinguished Senator Mangunu. Yes, Senator Binus.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. My name is Binos Yaro. I represent Adamawa South. I just want the distinguished chairman of this committee to explain something that I find a little bit odd. On the membership of the conference committee, the House of Representatives have 5 members. But on the endorsement page, we have only 3 members. So, the chairman usually says, I have eagle eye because I'm a chartered accountant. Perhaps that is so. So, but I'm just wondering, why should we have 5 members as members of the committee from the House of Reps, but only 3 members as signatories of the endorsement page? Thank you.
Yes, distinguished Senator Manguru.
Thank you very much, Senator Venus. As I usually say, for the eagle eye. Yes, when as equally observed by you, when this assignment was given to me and with the membership was given to me, I equally had cause to ask why the Senate is represented by 3 members and the House is represented by 5 members. Where there is very heated argument and it results into voting, definitely the House will have prevail over and above that of the Senate. But because of our superior argument, backed by constitutional provisions, that is why our argument had the day. Maybe subsequently, I think maybe the office of the clerk of the Senate will guide us appropriately in constituting these committees so that we will have equal number of members in this committee. Thank you for the observation.
So, Clark, the explanation is noted. So, distinguished colleagues, I want to thank the Senator Mangunu and all the members of the House of Representatives who worked on this conference report, and to say that the item is just a one-liner, and so I'll put the question. Those who are in support that this report be adopted, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The conference report as presented to us on the Northeast, on the Southeast Development Commission is hereby adopted and passed. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, the second order of the day is the presentation and consideration of the report of the Committee on Federal Capital Territory on the FCT Supplementary Appropriation Bill 2024, SB 456. Mr. President, you may wish to invite most distinguished Senator Mohammed Bomai Ibrahim, Chairman of the committee, to move the motion for the presentation and consideration of the report.
Distinguished Senator Bomai.
Senate President, I rise on Order 10. My privileges
Sorry,
of the Senate.
Just a minute.
Yes.
Just a minute.
Okay.
You can off your mic for a while. Yes, Leader of the Senate.
Thank you, Mr. President. I've just been informed that distinguished Senator Bomai, the chairman of the committee, is otherwise engaged in some other program.
Can any other member of the committee take the report?
The deputy chairman of the committee, distinguished Senator Sita Ngu, will be the one to
Yes,
present
distinguished Senator Sitangu, please take the report.
Thank you, Mr. President, and my distinguished colleagues. Mr. President, I move that the Senate do receive and consider the report of the Senate Committee on Federal Capital Territory on the 2024 FCT Statutory Supplementary Appropriation Bill SB 456.
When a senator is standing, no other senator may stand. So just we will come to your point of order. Yes, you said you moved that.
Mr. President, I move that the Senate do receive and consider the report of the Senate Committee on Federal Capital Territory on the 2024 FCT Statutory Supplementary Appropriation Bill SB 456. I so move, Mr. President.
Yes, the civil senator Barrow Jibrin. He just moved a motion that is the FCT supplementary appropriation bill be adopted.
My name is Barawo Jibrin. I represent Kano North in this esteemed Senate. I stand to second the motion ably moved by Senator Osita Ungu in respect of this 2024 FCT supplementary appropriation bill. I so second.
The civil senator also Tango, you may proceed to read the report. But ordinarily, just a minute, the other distinguished senators should be invited to make their contributions before we resolve it to Committee of Supply to consider the report. But the civil senator Ireti Kinkibe move a point of order. So the civil senator Kinkibe, you may proceed with your point of order.
My name is Ireti Kingibe, and I'm the only senator representing the Federal Capital Territory. And I rise on Order 10. Any senator may rise at any time to speak upon a matter of privilege suddenly arising, and he shall be prepared to move without notice a motion declaring that a contempt or breach of privilege has been committed, or referring the matter to the Committee on Ethics and Privileges. But if the matter is raised in the Committee of the whole Senate, the chairman shall leave the chair to report progress. Can I continue, sir?
Moving under 2 orders or only just under 10? If it's under 10, you said.
And 11.
On 11? Okay, read.
Can I speak, sir?
Yes.
I would like to draw the attention of the Senate to the fact that I am the highest elected office in the Federal Capital Territory, where 4 million people live. I also want to call to the attention of the Senate that though I am in the Committee of the Federal Capital Territory, whenever critical matters like budget or anything to do with the FCT is being discussed, I am never told. All I see is that it has been brought to the Senate. Sir, in the Federal Capital Territory.
No, the civil senator Ireti.
Please, may I finish speaking?
The order you are referring to says any senator may rise at any time to speak upon a matter of privilege suddenly arising, and that senator shall be prepared to move without notice a motion declaring that a contempt or breach of privilege has been committed. You have your motion. Okay, so we suspend it till tomorrow? Okay, so noted. Your point of order is in order. Sustain. Yes, Senator Ngo.
Thank you, Mr. President and my colleagues. Ositangu, Enugu West. Report of the Senate Committee on FCT on the 2024 FCT Statutory Supplementary Appropriation Bill, SP 456. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, you recall that in line with the provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, the 2024 FCT Statutory Supplementary Appropriation Bill was read the first time on Wednesday, 15th May 2024. The Senate concluded debate on the second reading on Thursday, 6th June 2024, and the bill was referred to the Committee on Federal Capital Territory and FCT Area Council and Auxiliary Matters for further legislative action and to report back in the next legislative day. In accordance with Section 62, 80, 88, 89, and 299 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended, the Senate Committee on FCT met with the Honorable Minister and other relevant officials of FCT administration and deliberated on the subject matter and agreed on the modalities to handle the exercise. Observations and findings. The Federal Capital Territory Administration proposed a sum of 98,500,000,000 only for the 2024 FCT Statutory Supplementary Appropriation. 2.2. The proposed sum is to augment the following priority areas of the FCT 2024 Statutory Appropriation Capital Expenditure as detailed below. The augmentation proposal is as contained in the document. Recommendation. In view of the aforementioned, the committee has recommended the sum of 98,500,000,000 only as the FCT statutory supplementary budget for 2024. Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, in considering this budget as time was of essence, the committee has worked harmoniously with the House of Representatives to present one version of the report for consideration by the Senate. On behalf of the committee, I hereby present the recommendations for the consideration of and passage of the 2024 FCT Statutory Supplementary Appropriation Bill into law. Thank you, Mr. President.
Off your mic. Any distinguished senator, is anybody wants to make a contribution? Distinguished Senator Jaribe, it's quite straightforward, Senator Mangunu, but otherwise, yes.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I want to state that the kind of work going on in the FCT, I don't think that we should waste time. We should go ahead and pass this bill as presented. Thank you.
Let me thank distinguished senators for their contributions and to say that the matter seems very straightforward. Distinguished leader of the Senate, if they wish to move a motion that we resolve in the Committee of Supply to consider the report.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, having been well guided, Mr. President, may I just say I so move. Thank you.
Minority Leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I second the motion moved by the Majority Leader that the Senate resolves into Committee of Supply to consider the report. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded that we do resolve into Committee of Supply to consider this report. Those who are in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
So take note of that.
Distinguished colleagues, look at on engineering services 48.5 billion. Say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Part A 2, Education Secretariat. Those in support of Education Secretariat Part 2, 18 billion. Say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Part A3, Public Buildings, 16 billion. Those in support of Part A3 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Part A4, Department of Transportation. Those in support of Department of Transportation, 16 billion, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Total capital outlay, 98.5 billion. Those in support of total capital outlay of 95.5 billion, say aye. Those against say nay. The clauses, clause 1, issue of a statutory revenue fund. Those in support of the enactment of clause 1 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 2, in fact, clause 1, and 5 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The explanatory memorandum. Those in support of the explanatory memorandum say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So, those ends a bill for an act to authorize the issue from the Federal Capital Territory Administration Statutory Revenue Fund of the Federal Capital Territory Administration account, the total sum of 98.5 billion for capital projects for the service of the Federal Capital Territory Abuja for the financial year ending 31st day of December 2024. Those in support of this explanatory memorandum say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. Senate President, distinguished colleagues, I stand to move that we revert back to plenary for Mr. President to report progress. I so move.
Minority Leader.
Mr. President, sitting as chair, I second the motion that the Senate reverse to plenary to enable the chair report progress. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded that this August Assembly do revert to the plenary for the chair to report progress. Those in support of the motion has moved and seconded say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Distinguished colleagues, the Senate in the Committee of Supply considered the report on the FCT Administration Supplementary Appropriation Bill 2024 and resolved as follows. Schedule Part A, Engineering Services, total of 48.5 billion. Schedule Part B, Education Secretariat, 18 billion. Part C, Public Building, total of 16 billion. Part D, Department of Transportation, 16 billion. So the grand total with augmentation will now be 101 billion. Clauses 1 to 5 as recommended. Long title as recommended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of Supply? Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The Senate leader.
Mr. President, very distinguished senators, I rise to move that the bill be now read the third time. I so move, Mr. President.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion that this bill be read a third time. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded that the Supplementary Appropriation Bill of 2024 for the FCT be now read a third time. Those in support of this motion say aye, and those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to authorize the issue from the Federal Capital Territory Administration Statutory Revenue Fund of the Federal Capital Territory Administration account the total sum of 98 billion 500 million naira only for capital projects for the service of the Federal Capital Territory Abuja for the financial year ending on 31st December 2024. Third reading.
Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to authorize the issue from the Federal Capital Territory Administration Statutory Revenue Fund of the Federal Capital Territory Administration's account the total sum of 98.5 billion naira only for capital projects for the service of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, for the financial year ending on the 31st day of December 2024. Third reading taken. Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to authorize the issue from the Federal Capital Territories Administration Statutory Revenue Fund of the Federal Capital Territory Administration's account, the total sum of 98 billion 500 million for capital projects for the service of the Federal Capital Territory Abuja for the financial year ending on 31st day of December 2024. Third reading taken and passed. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the third order of the day is the presentation and consideration of the report of the Committee on Niger Delta Development Commission on the 2024 statutory budget proposal of the Niger Delta Development Commission. Mr. President, may we to invite most distinguished Senator Asukwo Ekpeyon to move the motion for the Senate to receive, consider, and approve the report. I so move, Mr. President.
Yes, distinguished Senator Ekpeyon.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I am Asukwo Ekpeyon, Senator representing Cross River South. I rise to move. I rise to move that the Senate do receive, consider, and approve the committee report of the Senate Committee on NDDC on the 2024 statutory budget proposal of the Niger Delta Development Commission. I so move.
Yes, distinguished Senator Dixon.
Mr. President and my dear distinguished colleagues, Henry Sirake Dixon, Bayelsa West, I rise to second that this Senate do receive, consider, and approve the report of the committee on the budget of the NDDC. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded. Those who are in support of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Yes, distinguished Senator Ekpeyon, you may want to put some meat on the bone.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, through a communication to the Senate, presented a budget proposal of 1,911,800,000,000 naira only for the Niger Delta Development Commission for the fiscal year 2024 as follows. Personnel expenditure, 38,545,349,193. Overhead expenditures, 29,246,506,753 naira. Internal capital expenditure, 8,785,574,131 naira. Development projects, 835,222,569,924. Legacy projects funded by borrowing, 1 trillion. Total expenditure, 1,911,800,000,000 naira. Recommendations. In view of the foregoing, the committee recommended as follows that the revenue profile for the Commission for the year 2024 is as follows. Revenue brought forward, 12 billion. Federal government contribution, 324,844,833,046 naira. Federal government contribution in essence unpaid arrears by federal government and recoveries by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, 170 billion. All companies' contribution and Nigeria Liquefied Natural Gas Limited and others, 375 billion. Ecological funds, 25 billion. Borrowings, 1 trillion. Other internally realized income, 5 billion. Total revenue, 1 trillion, 911 billion, 844,833,046 naira. Prayers. That the Senate do consider and approve the year 2024 budget proposal for the Niger Delta Development Commission in the sum of 1 trillion, 911 billion, 844,833,046 naira, only as recommended by the committee. Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues.
Distinguished Senator Olamileko.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, distinguished colleague. Adeola Solomon Olamileko, representing Ogun West Senatorial District in the Senate of the Federal Republic. Mr. President, let me start by commending the chairman for his prompt response and quick presentation of his budget for NDDC for 2024. But Mr. President, that goes without one or two reservations. Number one, I expect the committee to give us a synopsis of what 2023 budget of NDDC is like. I observe they are silent about that in these budgets. Even in the federal budget, in the national budget, contained in it is the performance of the previous year's budget that will lay a foundation for the consideration of the 2024 budget. So for these, I expect the chairman at least to guide us, to show us what it's like as far as the activities of the NDDC is concerned in 2023 concerning budget implementation. They are silent on it. We have no information. So if we go ahead and pass this 1.9 trillion budget for 2024, what are we predicating it upon in terms of performances? Yes, it might say it's the tradition or that's the standard, but this is not at least good enough for the education of distinguished colleague as far as appropriation bill of a particular agency is like. And such a sensitive agency like NDDC, I want the chairman to please take cognizance of this. So in his future presentation of budgetary provision, budget of NDDC, we will have a full idea of what is contained in the activities of NDDC. Having said that, Mr. Chairman, I want to say that all the projects as stated here, we should please, because I observe that 174 billion was for unpaid projects across. What are these projects? Where are the lists that shows that they are really unpaid? All this clarification, we need to, at least the chairman need to go to the nitty-gritty of it, so that by the time the full implementation of this budget commences, he can follow it to the latter and to ensure that the right thing is done as far as NDDC is concerned. I so submit, Mr. President. Thank you, sir.
Distinguished Senator Alero.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues. Let me also start by commending the chairman for presenting this report in good time. But, Mr. President, I have one observation, yes. Very important observation. The NNDC is borrowing 1 trillion naira. And I doubt very much if this has been presented in the borrowing plan. Normally, if the federal government wants to borrow money, it either presents it through the borrowing plan or
Mr. President will forward a request to the National Assembly, asking the National Assembly to approve the borrowing of 1 trillion naira. But it is included here. Does it mean that this approval we are giving will suffice what the normal procedure is? The normal procedure, as I said earlier, is for the president to forward a request to the National Assembly, both the Senate and also the House of Representatives. And the request is normally given to the committee to deliberate and then come up with the report. But now it is included in the budget. I think the procedure here has been bypassed, in my opinion, Mr. President. So uh, I want an explanation on this. Furthermore, Mr. President, NNDC is a child of necessity. We must do all we can to ensure that the money that is given to NNDC is used judiciously and prudently. And if we do so, it will change the fortune of that area. I know we have 9 states, but if this money is used, annually we do approve close to about 2 trillion naira to NNDC. That is more than a budget of 2 states. But, Mr. President, I'm afraid to say that we have not seen much progress, and a lot of people are saying so. And I believe the committee on NDDC has to do their job by regularly doing oversight so that they will ensure that whatever money is approved by the National Assembly is properly utilized. Mr. President, thank you very much.
The Deputy Senate President.
Thank you, Mr. President. Barrow Jibrin cannot not, Mr. President. First of all, Mr. President, let me commend the committee for a job well done. Despite the reservation raised by Senator Yayi, the report is well put together, very articulate, and direct to the point. I'm always in support in whatever that will bring development to Niger Delta. That is a base of our economic strength as of now, because our economy is dependent on oil as we speak, and that's a place where this oil is being exploited, but yet they have a lot of problems, environmental problems. So it is always my stance to stand with them, because I was one of those that enacted the law, the NDC law, in the year 2000 when I was in the House of Representatives. So that said, I am fully in support of the fact that they are going to have more funds through loans. It shows they are now getting focused, because this money, as stated, is dedicated to particular project, legacy projects, which is good. Otherwise, I mean, before now, there was a kind of haphazard spending, and that was why we can't have the needed development that the area desires. I commend the present management of NDC for now being focused, channeling the money to projects that are really meaningful and dedicated to the development of the area. We shouldn't go into little mistakes here and there, but the substance of the budget itself, as I said, is well focused now, compared to how it has been. So I think we should give the full support needed to this report, so that it will go through the stage of its processing, so that the budget will start, the implementation will start. And again, I also commend the committee, because before now, the NC budget was brought to us at the end, close to the end of the year, sometime in November. sometime in December. But now we're having the budget earlier than before. And the committee also did well. Before now, the committee used to hold the budget for 3, 4, 5 months, like the previous in the 9th Senate. The report was with the committee for almost 3 to 4 months.
No, sometimes up to 7 months.
So the committee did well by quickly acting on the report. I mean, on the bill, and the bill is now before us for the final processing. And I want to draw the attention of Mr. President that at this stage there's no need for debate. It's against our rule to continue to debate, this bill at this stage. It should have been debated during the second reading, which was done. Anybody that had reservation could have raised that reservation then. But now it's good for us to go to the committee of whole so as to get the bill dealt with appropriately. It's clearly stated in section 79 of our rules.
Read to guide us.
On the order for the second reading of a bill being read, a motion may be made that the bill be now read a second time, and a debate may arise covering the general merits and principles of the bill. So it's only at the second reading that you can now ventilate your view on the general merits or whatever on the bill, and we are past that. Thank you, Mr. President.
Yes, but there's a question that was asked on the 1 trillion borrowing, and that does it mean it's not going to pass through the normal procedure of Parliament approving it and all that? So, yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you for the opportunity. We've had 3 comments on this budget. The first was by...
Sorry, I asked you a specific question.
Yes, sir. I wanted to address the 2 reservations.
There are other senators that are members of your committee. After you finish speaking, you won't have an opportunity again.
So let me yield until...
So it's good for you to listen first.
No.
Okay, so let me listen to Senator Oshomole.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am Adams Aliu Eric Oshomole. I represent the great people
Eric.
of Edo. Eric, yes, sir. That is my baptism name. And Bishop Kuka has warned me that if I don't answer it, there are consequences. Okay. Sir, I have listened to the argument. Ordinarily, I don't have any reason why this bill should not go, because under the new management of NDDC, and with the eagle eye of the chairman and members of the NDDC committee, I believe that those of us in the South can say with confidence that things have changed, and things are changing, and they will change even more. With regard to the technical question raised by Senator Alelo, for whom I have a lot of respect, I think my recollection, I've not been here for too many years, but when we appropriate, we pass an appropriation law that provides for deficit. Subsequently, the president will write, as necessary, to ask the Senate to approve a borrowing plan. Not the other way around. You don't borrow without stating the purpose. So when we have passed the bill, which says that part of the money will be borrowed, in my view, and from my limited experiences I've been here, we can, when the president so requests, consider the request to borrow 1 billion or 1 trillion naira. I don't see fundamental contradiction. But let me also say that we shouldn't make the mistake of saying that because the boy has been misbehaving, even when he's changing, we continue to judge it by his dirty past. I think NNDC, under its current management, are doing the right thing. They are focusing on projects that are viable, that are durable, that are physical people can see. And I think we just need to encourage the new management to do what they are already doing. Therefore, from we in the South, there can be no perfection. But when we see For people like us who are used to criticizing, when we see what is good, we have to acknowledge it. Yes, like somebody said, there have been a lot of debts and so on. There are issues whether the jobs were done or not done. But after the audit, they have been able to separate jobs not done from jobs that are done for which NDDC has not paid. They've had this reputation of awarding contract, people borrow money to do the job, and the job is not paid. Such job is only fair if you are not going to collapse those contractors who have invested their money or borrowed to do those jobs. It is only fair that they are paid what the job has been properly verified. It is not paying for invisible contracts. So, Mr. President, I think there is no better person who is more familiar with the challenges of Niger Delta than your humble self. So I want to plead with my colleagues that let's not judge or let our attitude not be influenced by the past. Let it be formed by the new progressive development that we've all have noticed, at least those of us from the South. I urge my colleagues to support this bill. And if there are technical issues that need to be worked out, I'm sure the committee can always handle those. Thank you, Mr. President.
Distinguished Senator Dixon.
Thank you, Mr. President and dear colleagues. Henry Siraki Dixon, Bayelsa West. Mr. President and my dear colleagues, I just want to make a few comments, even though by our rules, as have been read, this is not the stage for a debate on the general principles, but at any stage, it is free for legislators to make comments and offer guidance. So all that has been said, I think has been properly said and in the right way too. But I want to begin by addressing the issue raised by Senator Leiko when he said, when he talked about those issues about the way and manner the budgeting has been done, and talking about the debts that have to be provided for in the way this budget seeks to do. Mr. President, you know the roles we played at several levels before now, particularly when you were minister and I was chairing the Niger Delta Governors Forum, and how we sought audience with the presidency and your good self. And we made the case for a forensic audit. It wasn't the view of the presidency or the executive. We, the governors of the region, because of our concern for what was going on, and that request was acceded to and carried out. So as at now, the NDDC management and board are in possession of the forensic reports, which has enabled them to now pinpoint the contracts that are performing, those that are terribly bad, and those that actions need to be taken about. So what has happened is that they have been able to isolate jobs that need to be continued, jobs that need to be concluded for the benefit of the region. And in the last couple of months, we have seen a number of actions on some projects that are big ticket projects, which is what we have always called on them to do in the region. So they deserve to be supported. Now, my
Our good colleague Senator Adelo raised the issue of the 1 trillion borrowing, and is right in saying that, well, maybe we should have had an executive communication to deal with it, and by way of giving approvals, both chambers. But I don't think that we have to throw this away because that has not been done. I think it can come either before, maybe ideally we could have taken that. But now that we have this budget to consider, it's not out of place to deal with it now. Because now we will be talking of a deficit borrowing, a deficit budget, deficit spending. So we authorize it, believing that the president, maybe when he's bringing any other communication, will come with the right request to regularize it. And talking about the situation in the NDC, I just want to align with the comments of Senator Shomole, that those of us from the region, all of us who have been critical across the country, have been critical about the way certain things have been done in the NDDC. And it's not just peculiar to the NDDC. The issue of inefficiency is common to all national institutions. I don't think the NNPC is any better. I don't think the NPA is any better. There's no national institution that is free from those challenges of inefficiency and waste. Or even the regional development commissions. The Northeast Development, I'm not a member of the committee, and I'm not privy to what is going on there, but we also hear comments going around. So this is a national malaise, but we are grateful for the concern for the development of the Niger Delta, and we appreciate the concern and the support that we have continued to get for the development of that area. But what I can say lastly is that the new board and management appeared to be on focus, on track. We have also not heard of any disharmony and crisis, as has been the case, and they need to be encouraged. They are focusing on big ticket projects. Last 2 weeks, they were in Bayelsa to officially commission a project that, when I was governor, because of the importance, the state also supported the Nimbe Road with 3 billion donated by the state when I was governor, because of the importance. So I was very pleased sitting down there when they were officially commissioning that road. And they are doing so in so many other areas. So my submission is to call on Mr. President and other distinguished colleagues, irrespective of the technical issues that have been raised and the concerns that have been voiced legitimately, we should, in the overall interest, pass this budget as requested. And I want to stop by thanking the President for the renewed focus and the support and the encouragement that the President is giving to the development of the Niger Delta through the activities and actions of the Niger Delta Development Commission. Because if the President didn't give that permission, we wouldn't even be talking of the possibility of a 1 trillion naira injection. And that's a good development, Mr. President. So we should encourage what the executive is doing and planning to do in support of this agency to fast-track the interventionist development of the region. So, Mr. President, finally, I urge on all of us to, at this stage, pass the budget as requested, sent to us in time, in a long while, sent to us through the presidency, to us, and the committee has dealt with this. Let us pass it and allow the committee and the leadership and others to have time to deal with the regularization and other issues that we will have to deal with. Thank you.
Distinguished Senator Sani Musa.
Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, I have just had an interaction with the chairman of the committee, and what's supposed to be done, we have highlighted it based on the Fiscal Responsibility Act, and he told me that everything has been captured. The only thing they have not just analyzed them out here. And then I advise that they should also coordinate with the DMO, Debt Management Office, because such a debt profile for government agencies or any government corporation must go in line with the cap which the Fiscal Responsibility Act have enumerated. So with this, I believe that we all understand where the lapses are, and they are not lapses that can stop this budget from going. All we need is for the committee and the agency to work out those modalities and make sure that they meet the standard. Thank you, Mr. President.
Distinguished colleagues, in line with our rules, the normal thing is for us to debate before we commit it to second reading. And then after the debate, we now commit it to the committee to go and handle. And it's at the committee level that all these issues ought to and must have been raised. At the end of it all, if we had committed it to the committee of the whole, immediately after the general principles and merits, after the second reading, we committed it to the committee of the whole. That's when we could all have sat down to go through all the debates. But we must trust our committee that they have done a good job and that they had actually asked all these questions. But Chairman, please note them. And one of the things that came to my mind was that, yes, this is a bill that came from the presidency. But you know that before they can go a borrowing to the tune of 1 trillion, they must follow due process. They must follow due process. So I don't think this is the end of the discussion with them. And the committee on NDDC must do its best to do the oversight function and to guide them properly. So I would like to put the question. Prayer 5.0, that this Senate do consider and approve the year 2024 budget proposal for the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, in the sum of 1,111,844,833,046 naira only. Those in support of this recommendation say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Accordingly, the 2024 statutory budget proposal of the Niger Delta Development Commission in the total sum of 1,911,844,833 naira and 46. I'll take that again. 1,911,844,000,000. This money is too much for me. 1 trillion. I hope that is not on the record. 1,111,844,833,046 naira is hereby approved and passed. Leader of the Senate.
Thank you, Mr. President. Very distinguished colleagues. The fourth order of the day is the presentation and consideration of the report of the Committee on Ethics, Privileges, and Public Petition in respect of a petition from Yahya Mohammed Esquire of Eastward Legal Services, on behalf of Abu Bakar Abdullahi Dotsima. Mr. President, you may wish to invite most distinguished Senator Imasuen Neda Bennett to move the motion for the Senate to consider the report of the committee.
Distinguished Senator Neda Emaswe.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. My name is Senator Neda Imasu, and I represent Edo South Senatorial District. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I stand to present the committee report on the petition from Yahya Mohammed Yusuf Esquire of Eastward Legal Services on behalf of Abubakar Abdullahi Dusima against the management of independent corrupt practices and other related offenses commissioned, ICPC, on the alleged denial of promotions, persecutions, and unfair treatment by the commission. If I have your permission, Mr. President, may I come forward to lay the report?
You may proceed. Distinguished Senator Emaswe.
Mr. President.
You may move a motion for the Senate to now consider this report.
Mr. President, distinguished colleague, may I move the motion that the Senate do receive the report of the Committee on Ethics, Code of Conduct, and Public Petitions in respect of Yahya Mohammed Yusuf Esquire of Eastport Legal Services on behalf of Abubakar Abdullahi Dusima against the management of independent corrupt practices and other related offenses on the alleged denial of promotions, persecution, and unfair treatment by the Commission. I so move.
Any seconder? Yes, Senator. No, I think Anthony raised his hand before you.
Okay.
So you may yield the floor to your brother.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Yeah.
My name is Senator Anthony Siakoyaro, representing Gombe South. I rise to second the motion by Distinguished Senator Neda, Chairman, Committee on Ethics, on the adoption of the report. I so second.
Thank you. Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded that this August Assembly do consider this report as presented by Senator Emaswe. Those in support of the report being considered say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Yes, Senator Garuba, let Senator Emaswe finish giving us a full summary. Okay, but you did so with your hand. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. The Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria may recall that at its plenary session on Tuesday, 31st October 2023, distinguished Senator Yaradua Abdulaziz Musa, Senator representing Katsina Central, in line with one of the three principal rules of the legislature, representation, rose in accordance with Order 40, 1 and 2, Standing Orders of the Senate 2023 as amended, and drew the attention of the Senate to a petition from one of his constituents, Abubakar Abdullahi Dosima, against the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, on the alleged denial of promotions, persecutions, and unfair treatment by the Commission, where he urged the Senate to look into the matter and direct the Commission to restore his due position, grade level 17, in the administrative office cadre and pay all his salaries and allowances. Accordingly, pursuant to Order 40, Rule 3 of the Standing Orders, the Senate referred the petition to the Committee on Ethics, Code of Conduct and Public Petition for detailed investigation and further legislative action. This petition was referred to the committee via the Senate Votes and Proceedings number 34 of Tuesday, 31st October 2023. The committee met and following the Senate resolution referral, the committee met, reviewed the petitions, considered its mandate, and resolved that in addressing the issues raised in the petition, it will consider the provisions of the following statutory documents and general principles necessary for arriving at appropriate recommendations to the Senate. The Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the Senate Standing Orders, Independent Corrupt Practice Act, the extant circulars from the Office of the Head of Service, Public Service Rules, Principle of Equity, Fairness, and Justice. The committee further resolved to invite the following parties to the public hearing on the matter with a view to unearth the truth and determine the veracity of the claims to enable it make appropriate recommendations to the Senate. 1. The petitioner, Abubakar Abdullahi Doshiba, and 2. The respondent, the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offense Commission, ICPC. Testimonies and submissions. The committee received written submissions and listened to oral presentation of Yahya Mohammed Yusuf Esquire on behalf of Abubakar Abdullahi Dosima and the management of Independent Corrupt Practices, ICPC, as follows. The petitioner, Yahya Mohammed Yusuf Esquire, in his presentation.
Distinguished Senator, we all have the report, so just proceed to your findings and recommendations immediately.
Mr. President, upon the exhaustive investigation of the matter by the committee, the following recommendations were made. 1. That the Senate do direct the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, to convert Abubakar Abdullahi Dosima from executive cadre to administrative office cadre, having obtained the requisite university degrees as stipulated in the extant circular referenced HCSF/EPO/EIR/CND/S100/1/29, dated 1st August 2012, from the Office of the Head of Service of the Federation. 2. The Senate do direct the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, to promote Abubakar Abdullahi Doshima to Assistant Director, grade level 15, with effect from 1st January 2024, and pay him all his salaries and allowances. Mr. President, my distinguished and respected colleagues, on behalf of the Senate Committee on Ethics, Code of Conduct, and Public Petition, I wish to appreciate His Excellency, the President of the Senate, and my distinguished colleagues for this opportunity to serve Nigerians in this capacity. I so submit for consideration. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, distinguished Senator Neda. Any comments? For the first time, nobody. Okay, in that case, we go into the recommendation. Recommendation 1, that the Senate do direct the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, to convert Abubakar Abdullahi Dosima from executive cadre to administrative officer cadre, having obtained the requisite university degrees as stipulated in the extant circular reference dated 1st of August 2012 from the Office of the Head of Service of the Federation. Those in support of recommendation 1 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Recommendation 2, that the Senate do direct the independent corrupt practices and other offenses commission to promote Abubakar Abdullahi Dusima to Assistant Director, grade level 15, with effect from 1st January 2024, and settle all his outstanding allowances and salaries. Those in support of recommendation 2 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Let me thank the committee on Ethics, Code of Conduct, and Public Petitions for assiduously working on this and coming back to us in due time. And I hope that the clerk of the Senate will convey the decision of the Senate to ICPC for immediate remediation, because this chamber is people prone, and we must make sure that we protect the rights and the fundamental rights of all Nigerians in all activities. Thank you for your submissions, and I wish him well in his new position. Leader of the Senate. Leader of the Senate.
Thank you, Mr. President. Very distinguished senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. At this point, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I am rising to move that we go into a closed session to be able to do some house clearing, discuss some very important and urgent developments overriding public interest. I so move, Mr. President.
Yeah, Minority Leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion moved by the Senate leader that will sub into executive session to discuss an important house matter. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded that this August Assembly do dissolve into an executive session to enable us to discuss matters of urgent national importance. Those in support of the motion for the executive session say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. We'll proceed now to move into a closed session.